Why does Gary Vaynerchuk say that the visual is where it's at? If you can feel comfortable enough to get on the camera. And why, for instance, also does Zaley Barkley in New York City talk of how crucial video is also, and smiling? And why did Dale Carnegie, noted the world over for public speaking instruction, and his famous book also, How to Win Friends and Influence People, urge smiling as so crucial? And why did Boris Yeltsin of the Soviet Union have to retool his career and life, in part by taking smiling lessons from somebody? You might call them a smiling coach. And why was I urged by someone I worked with when I was 24 or so to look at myself in the mirror? And for those who like movies, and especially dramas, would you rather watch your favorite movie actor or actress or read the book or script version? Why or why not? And same with going to see a famous singer. Some even in their 80s, 70s, and 80s. I'm reminded Elton John came to the region here where I live a year or two ago, and he is up there a little in age. And yet I don't think he was turned down by a whole lot of people to be watched compared to some others, and the ticket price was probably not a mere $5 for the concert that evening or two. So why then visual so important, and is that the only way then to get out content? Does everyone else need to despair? Especially since video can involve a lot of extra things. It's very complicated for those who have tried it. Everything has to work just right, including lighting and, of course, the sound. And, of course, everything has to be powered up at all times. Editing can be more complicated also. And there being issues then of clothing, makeup, I mentioned already, I believe, lighting. And did you get enough sleep so that you're smiling optimally and just overall don't look fatigued and down in the mouth? I know for those who are Christian-oriented, T.D. Jakes, the minister, the bishop, has stated once his viewpoint that nonverbal communications is very important as part of communication. Also, way back once I was seeing a therapist. This was 30 years ago. And after one time I was calling him on the phone occasionally, and he said he did not want to talk with me anymore on the phone, only in the office, because of the issue of how you can't see nonverbal communications over the phone. In fact, some say that's part of the secret of webinar communications and marketing or sales, is that there's the visual component option. You can at least have your little picture in the corner of a screen there while you're discussing something. Well, it seems to me there are two camps of people, roughly speaking then. Those who say they are too shy to appear on camera. And yes, appearing on camera does take a lot of extra effort, even if you have everything else in line, including no quote-unquote shyness. But is this shyness really, quote, something ephemeral here, or does it often have to do with trying to an inner sense of awareness that an individual has something to hide, and they're afraid deep down that their nonverbal communications will show, particularly in terms of anger or fear or both. And these then seemingly turn off a number of viewers unless your content is more important than other aspects I've just mentioned. For instance, if you can show someone on a video how to make $1 billion in 1 hour, I don't think they'll care one bit how anxious or angry you look or are. But for those who can't quite pony up that degree of transformation and quickly, I think many of us would realize then that an inner sense of anger and fear, or both, is going to be coming across, and so wanting to put forth things in written form more, or other forms, rather than the visual component. Those who can do this successfully probably often are called actors and actresses, or top real estate agents, or top sellers in general. Of course, I might add, nonverbal communications can also communicate contempt, disgust, disrespect in general, and to the extent that is present in a person, it is probably going to be very hard to hide in a visual component form. Now, my question then, and maybe overall point in this little video here, is this. Given that video surely takes a lot of effort to do acceptably well, including getting enough sleep before you do the video, not having had an exceptionally stressful day due to a bill you can't pay that day or whatnot, well then the question is, does all of our video or content have to be video? Or can we economize on our resources and crank out material on a much more quick fashion to those who already know who we are? And isn't that then the point of the video component? Besides the sexual aspect, of course, communicated visually and not in the printed word as easily. And it is this who is telling us the message. Once people trust us or desire us in their lives as to our product, our motives especially, our inner character, then I think there can often be other more efficient ways of communicating some of our ideas. And I'll just end this then with something that reinforced this I was reading yesterday. Some have heard of tarot card reading. I had my first tarot card reading a couple months ago by someone in what you might call a CBD shop. And interestingly then, I've read a book yesterday on tarot card reading, and it was quite illuminating. The person pointed out, where do they get most of their jobs, their work, their clients? And he was giving advice to others also. His advice was, first, get your clients through in-person meetings, whether it's fairs, New Age bookstores, where people can see you as to who you are. I know some would call that being, at one end of the spectrum, charismatic. Or shall we say, they can see your motives in life. Do you like them or not? For various salespeople have said that's the key component to sales at high levels, showing customers that you like them and you believe the product really also could help them. So maybe then that's just about it. We might not need to put out video so much all the time to get forth content if people understand, first of all, just who we are. What is our respect level toward them and toward people in general? How much fear do we have in our lives? How much anger? These three things in particular, I think visual communicates. And once a person has established who we are, then I think sometimes written word or audio books, podcasts as per audio only, can be a very efficient way of communicating and ingesting material too, whether we're putzing around the house, driving down the road back and forth, or what have you. First, do you have a good sense of who it is that is communicating something to you from a visual one-on-one in one fashion or another? Once this is established, then I think things can shift to a more efficient manner of communicating oftentimes. And this individual then in the book on tarot card reading pointed that out in his own way. The book Stray Tarot, How to Survive as a Tarot Reader. And he mentioned a lot of his clients like telephonic card reading, so to speak, even as some form of coaching session on a repeat basis. But he says first, people like to establish who it is providing this. And the establishing, once again, of this coming from seeing nonverbal communications in action, shall we say, at least on video format, if not moreover in person. I'll just close once again for concerning our favorite actresses, actors. How would you really know whether you liked them or not if all you had is a book on the shelf in a library or bookstore? For instance, I even have a book as to the script of the movie Good Will Hunting with Matt Damon and Robin Williams. But if you were to read just the script, how would you have any inkling whether you like these people and for what reasons? First, you want to see them in the flesh, or at least on a screen, which of course is airbrushed and done sometimes 10 takes. But at any rate, that far preferable to ascertaining who it is really in their core that is delivering the message. Once that's done, often then I think content can be supplemented or made to be disseminated in easier fashion, more efficient fashion, shall we say, without putting on the makeup all the time and making sure we got the perfect amount of sleep and so on. In manners that don't require all those to come together, as well as the technical components all the more. Some thoughts here.